We're getting close to getting way too many eggs coming down through there. So I start slowing it down at this point because it's real sad times when you get... So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just shut it off here and I'll even waste that little bit of brine. You can see for the water, there's not even that many left in that water because they're not as condensed. They're all down here now. You know, they were pulled to the bottom with the light, then we harvested them. So now I've got this container of brine shrimp. Here it is. We'll put it in some better light. I'll show you the next trick.
Is that the same amount that you just made?
Yes, it's the exact same thing. So what you saw me set up is exactly what we just harvested here. So the next trick, I recommend this turkey baster. Now this turkey baster is very important. It is a no drip turkey baster because I'm going to tell you right now, your family is going to hate you when you drip brine shrimp on the carpet, on the floor, and what does that smell? That's rotting brine shrimp. So instead, use a no drip one, and I just grab a big old container of it, or not container, but siphon full of it. You notice how, there we go, it's going to stop dripping any second.
One eternity
What is the matter?
later.
There we
What's wrong
go.
with you?
So the stuff off the outside will drip, but when you start going to feed multiple tanks, what I do is I just kind of squirt.
No, I'll kick you out. You want to get kicked out?
So now you're going to want to see that in an aquarium, obviously, because you don't see what the brine shrimp are doing, and that's the important part. So I'm going to grab some more. So I just walk around like this with my brine shrimp in hand. I'll put it in here with these big fish. A lot of people go, well, big fish don't eat it. Well, I got news for you. All fish love brine shrimp. So I just put a whole squirt in there, and when I back up and they get used to Jimmy having a camera in their face, they're going to come eat them.
God, they're beating each other up.
And here they
Ready to
come.
beat you up?
They're going, oh, well, I don't mind if I do. I'll eat that. So the best part is, this is how you really spawn fish, because sometimes you'll have fry that you don't know about, and they're now going to raise up that you weren't, you know, this isn't a big meal for them, but this is a sign that baby food is around. Maybe it's time to have some babies. And so a lot of times I'll do this to help trigger them spawn. And with like these yellow labs, this little tidbit, if you look in the back corner, they dug a pit. They're ready to breed. They're a mouth brooder. But yeah, so I try to make it real quick and easy. And we just go through all the tanks. And you see it there. I'll show you here with these live bears and this goldfish. And you don't have to put a whole squirt in. You can go, oh, there's not that many fish in there. That's all they're getting. Everyone loves it. Where you'll really see things go nuts, babies and like these Romy-Nose tetras. And I really will spoil some fish. Like when these come in and they just got through quarantine and they're starving, I'll literally just pour it in. So it's a lot of brine shrimp. Now, what you just watched was me pouring all the salt water and everything too, and you're going, wait, but that's fresh water. This also has a bunch of ammonia, and I would say, yes, both of those. Luckily for me, I use live plants, and so live plants are going to consume any of the ammonia that would have been in here, and they're going to love all of that calcium and magnesium and all the other elements that are in there. So, that's what I do. Now, if you wanted to harvest, let's say you say, oh, I want to do the Dean method, and I don't want that to go into my tanks. Well, then what you have to do is you grab one of these things. And we don't sell these things yet because I'm not fully on board with them yet. That's why. I want to make my own. I want to make it good. This one's not perfect. This is one of the Zis ones. You can find them online. They're not my favorite yet. But what you do is you would drain it straight into, well, I'll just do it. So now we'll move this over a little bit. You would drain this straight into here. It's going to let the salt water drain through and keep your brine shrimp. You see how the brine shrimp's collecting in the sea? And now you're going to have this, you know, brine shrimp without the salt. Now let's pretend I harvested all of that for sake of time. Then what you do is you rinse it real quick. And you go, let's get all the salt because I'm freaked out about the salt. You'd have more in here, obviously. All right, so now you've got this, and you would then pour it back into that, maybe that bucket I was using or something like that. But now we'll just feed the other Romy-Nose tetras, and you'll see what it's like, you know, without the salt going in.
Dude, why you gotta beat him up? Leave him alone.
And just like that. So that's how you would harvest it without getting any of the salt in there. I personally find
yes, I'm making you
the
cheese,
salt
okay?
from marine salt to be beneficial. I also put the
I've
salt
you
in
back
even when
that
I was
chair like 10
doing,
times this morning already.
even when
Get
I
in the
did
chair, or get up.
normal aquarium salt. I don't really care because I do water changes, the aquarium consumes it, all of that. I never got into a problem. Typically when I'm raising babies, I'm changing a lot of water anyway. So then we'll finish this whole process here. So imagine you fed out all your brine shrimp and you're ready to set it up for the next day. You saw how we set it up originally. Now we just have to rinse it. So you pull it out. Uh-oh. So you got the tiniest bit of eggs down there, of hatch brine, but now you just have this slurry. Don't let this sit. You'll come back tomorrow and you'll wonder what seafood place died in your fish room. It's this. It smells terrible. So just give it a quick rinse, dump it out. And this is why I love this thing. The lesser kits are a pain to clean. You gotta get your hand in there, you're cutting it a little bit because you're using a cut-off pop bottle or some other apparatus, and you just get in there real quick. Don't forget to clean your nozzle. I just turn it open a little bit, make sure all the brine shrimp's out, not trapped.
No. Be quiet.
Now if you want to be
I don't like it when
proactive, you can also you could set it up, let the salt dissolve for the next day already. So you could let this sit.
Minecraft on your tablet.
You could go, hey, I'm gonna
Yes,
get ready
your
for
tablet has Minecraft.
tomorrow.
You wanna
Get
play
your salt
Minecraft?
ready. Don't put the eggs in there. Just put your salt, and you would let it bubble. I only have one set up at the moment because I used another one for another project. But then you'd be set up for tomorrow and good to go. You'd harvest this one, then you switch back, harvest the other one. Harvest, harvest, harvest. Happy fish, lots of spawning, and you're good to go. Now, if you're having any problems, reach out on the forum or something like that, tweak it a little bit. Maybe you have crazy hard water. Maybe you shouldn't be using marine salt. Just use aquarium salt. Maybe you should hatch more eggs, less eggs. Maybe the temperature's going on. It's a recipe. And someone might like a little bit more sugar, a few more chocolate chips. You know, you gotta dial it into taste. Now, I haven't tasted it, but Dean has, and he says it tastes terrible, so don't eat it. The brine shrimp hatcher makes it super easy. Our eggs make it even easier. Pair it with decent recipe, and you're good to go. Easy peasy.
You better, girl. You gotta look at some boys.
Yo, what's going on, Surfer Squad? Tanner here, and I'm back with something I developed the other
Not a
week.
scratch on you,
I was thinking to
girl.
myself, what would it be
You need
like
to
to
be
have an
nicer to the
aquarium that
boys.
continuously spills over into a bog system that filters the tank above? Something like this. In theory, it should work. To make it happen, I'll use primarily scrap materials. With a wacky design like this, I really had to consider the thickness of glass. I'll use 3/8 inch thick pieces for most of the elements, which is quite thick for a tank of this size. I cut the pieces down as I've shown plenty of times before. I put down a straight edge, scored a line with the glass cutting tool, and broke the pieces on the edge of my workbench.
You gotta sit up on
The same
here.
thing can be done with mirrors. I decided to use one for the front of
Yes.
the bottom
You
tank.
just shush and sit still. Maybe if you listen, you're not
I
gonna
also
listen.
sanded down the edges so they're safe
You
to
stay
handle
there,
and
please.
rinse them to remove debris.
Okay, because I'm going nuts over here with you just constantly.
To get this
trying
tank
to
plumbed,
do
it
weird
made
new
sense
stuff
to
over
include
here.
a bulkhead. I
Well, I
marked
guess
for it
so I
on
can
the
bring the
glass
fish
and
after
taped
all.
down a guide. I filled it up with water and drilled away with a diamond